Jamey-Lyn Turner comes in short notice against Bobby Green. Unfortunately, Bobby Green was not able to kind of mimic that resurgence that a lot of us were kind of thinking that he was going to be having, right? The stoppage was bad, but I think that the matchup was even worse, man. Jamey-Lyn Turner was not as compromised as we thought. Or do you think that we just didn't see enough action for it to turn into that? What do you think?
No, I don't think Jamey-Lyn Turner was that compromised at all, or at least less compromised than we thought, because when we've seen the struggles of a weight cut on most fighters, or on the fighters that we do see it in, they're very depleted, even from the jump. They're slow, they're lethargic, they look it, and you could just tell something's wrong. Jamey-Lyn Turner showed up on prime level, bro, and I don't know if it's just because he's still a little younger of a fighter, he's still growing into that, and he can't have that energy level. But man, this was not a good matchup at all for Bobby Green. Even in moments when Bobby Green felt like he had the a quicker step, like he was on his horse, if you will. Jamey-Lyn Turner was still just cracking it, man, and it was a hard fight nonetheless.
Well, I think it was tough because, our prediction kind of came to fruition. We said Bobby Green has a slickster style, hands down. Can that work against a taller, longer opponent? And I'm sure it can work, but in this situation, it did not. Like, he was getting tagged. He got popped with a perfect right hand on the temple, wobbled him, got put down. That's where the bad stoppage comes into question. So let's talk about it, AJ. And actually what we're going to do is something that we normally don't do here on this program, but I figured it'd be nice to switch it up a little bit. So I'm going to pull it up right here, and we're going to take a peek, man. So let me get this back.
As a kickboxer champion, he really is. You just
see the finish. One, bang, look, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
What else do you need? What else do you need? I mean,
what did he do? Who did Bobby Green piss off? What? Let's talk about this really quickly, man. So we just watched it back, right? So that's the live in action. Watched it back. Bobby Green was belly down, no answers, shelled up. There's a lot of referees who aren't going to let that go. Let Mark Goddard in there. That would have been over after the first shot. I think it's fair to say that Bobby Green probably took 6 unnecessary shots. I'm not going to say he was unconscious during all of those shots, but a lot of people are calling worst stoppage in UFC history. That could be a little hyperbolic. I do think this is detrimental to a fighter's health. And if you have one job as a referee, it's to not let them be in that bad of a spot. What did you think about this fiasco?
Kerry Yamasaki, I feel like, is the new name for this guy. No, I'm just joking, folks. A lot of people are saying that this is one of the worst stoppages. Everybody forgets Mario Yamasaki, because Kerry Hatley is the referee in this one and does deserve a lot of questions his way and things like that. Because Derek, you said 6 or 7 unanswered shots. I was thinking 12. I counted 17 shots when Bobby Green was face down, shelled up. So, you need a couple. Let's give him 5, right? So you got 12 unanswered shots for about 10 seconds just sitting there teeing off on a guy. Kerry Hatley did a very, very poor job of and not refereeing the fight, but having the sense of urgency to actually get in there and do your job of defending an opponent that isn't able to defend themselves. That right there makes you a little upset.
Yeah. I mean, nobody could be happy about this except Arman Sarukian, who literally said, I was very happy to see his head bouncing off of the canvas. Like, that made me very happy. So you got their own little set of beef right there. But the reality is, man, I mean, no matter how much they hype up these fights, Bobby Green, he's a showman. He's an entertainer. He says, I don't think about my fights as fights. These are shows. I'm going to go perform right now, right? Well, it's hard to keep longevity that way as such an active fighter the way Bobby Green is when that happens. So I think Dana White definitely was disparaging the referee, as he should have. This is not something that you normally see. Kerry Hatley he's reffed a lot of fights, man, and you normally don't have this issue. So you don't want to come for the man's head and say you're the worst ever or whatever the case may be. I just thought this was a terrible look for the sport in general and for Bobby Green's health. But to kind of round this out, man, let's talk about the betting implication, because we didn't hit on that. Jamey-Lyn Turner closed as a favorite on the money line, plus 275 TKO. A lot of people were calling for a KO. I thought that Bobby Green, given he'd only been knocked out about 4 times in his career, would be able to pull it out, man. But was this a smash spot that we just had a bad read on, or what do you think?
No, this was for sure a smash spot, Derek, because I think with all the weight stuff before and all the lead up to the fight and the short notice and all that stuff, all of our minds really started getting clouded. But if you go back to what we said on the pre-show, if none of that was there, it's a smash spot for Jamey-Lyn Turner. Like, he's going to be whooping all day long. and we just got clouded a little bit right there. So I'm still glad we made the right pick, but I can see where the narrative got a little out of hand, if you will.
And that's the hardest part of this job, right? Is to say like, all right, how do I weed out the narrative and what everybody's saying online and all that good stuff? Watching the weight cut looking bad, watching the interviews. It's almost like sometimes you got to stay away from it and just say, hey, the fight in and of itself, this is what the film shows me. So big win by Jamey-Lyn Turner, man. Not sure where this propels him because he fought a dude who was behind him in the rankings. He was saying it the whole time. I don't have a choice. Maybe it earns him a little favor in the company. Who knows?